Hi everyone, I'm Kristy Jo. Welcome to my new video log for this week. My crazy wet hair. But no, I don't blow dry my hair. I refuse to. And I try rarely to put heat on it. It's taken so long to grow out my long hair, so I don't want to damage it. Okay, so just a few things. First of all is be sure and check out my sponsor, JDJ Nutrition. They have been so awesome, so helpful for me, and I just appreciate them so much. I love recommending their products. They've actually even put together the top 4 things that I recommend to people, and they've put it in a bundle for people to save 10%, which is awesome. And then they can use my code, BODBUDS, BODBUDS, to even save more money. So it's sweet. So the best protein, glutamine, pre-workout, and branched chain amino acids. This is a 4-part supplement bundle that is really good for people who are serious about lifting and physique creation using manipulative and strategic nutrition and training. So if that fits you, those are definitely some products you should be checking out. So I kind of don't want to take forever on this vlog. This is hard to do, FYI. It's hard to sit here and tell a camera, not knowing who's going to watch this, who's going to possibly judge myself and my sharing, becoming vulnerable and sharing what's going right, what's not going right. That is a little bit scary. So I do it anyway. I have learned through the past 3 years in everything I've done with Body Buddies, vulnerability is beautiful. By me putting my story of triumph and overcoming out there through my book, through my blog, through all my social media posts, it's been terrifying. Absolutely. Knowing that you have put yourself in a state for judgment. And I think we all have to go through that at some point. But I'll tell you what, I never have grown as much as when I put myself in vulnerable situations. Risk is a part of life and we have to take it. So here I am in all my wet hair glory, gonna share with you what is going right and not right. So 3 weeks out, did my progress photos this morning, and I was terrified to take them because it was a rough week. And I think I say that every week, but this was by far the worst week, just in terms of not the training, in terms of what's going on in my life, the stress, the worries, the concerns, things that I'm figuring out about just life, and having to have a contest prep in that situation. I'm not someone who has this perfectly structured life. I wake up at different times every day. I go to sleep at different times every day. That brings me to my #1 struggle this week was sleep. I slept 3 to 4 hours a night this week. One night was 2 hours right before I was on the news in the morning because I was client planning till about midnight. I put my cutoff line. I was like, hey girl, you gotta get some sleep so you don't look like this on the news. 2 o'clock, sit straight up in a cold sweat. I was so nervous I was gonna miss waking up to go be on the news. And by the way, if you missed it, you can go, I believe, to 2 News Utah, and they should have a clip up soon. But it was just some little teaching moments, you know, not huge, but it's fun to get out there and be able to have more exposure. I got about 150 website hits just from that, so it was worth my time to go down there for sure. Let's see, so anyway, I just woke up and kept working because I had like 10 work lines I had to plan for anyway, so I slept very little, and then come Saturday night, 6 p.m., I just lay down for a nap. I wake up at midnight, I'm like, this is really awkward, like, now what? Because I just pretty much had a good night's sleep. So I did what I usually do, my coping mechanism, and I think this is an important point because we all have or need coping mechanisms with stress and things in our lives. And a lot of people use alcohol, a lot of people use food, a lot of people use hobbies. You know, we all have something that helps us cope. And for me, it's drives. I just love to get in my car and drive and listen to music, usually opera. Yeah, weird, I know. So I just jump on the belt route and I just go 215 to I-80 and I just kind of circle Salt Lake. And that's what I do until I'm ready to go home. Then I went home, I was so tired, and I slept another 10 hours, and I woke up, I'm like, hey, this is not good, because I either sleep way too little or way too much. The biggest part of why this is important in contest prep particularly is the cortisol levels. When I don't sleep enough, that raises cortisol levels. And when your body is in that state of stress due to that heightened state, then your ability to just be in this calm fat burn environment is compromised. So being fully aware and cognizant of that, I have thought, okay, I need to set some goals and to get some more sleep. I don't have any finite goals because every day of my life is so different. So I just have to do that on a daily basis and just say, today you're going to bed at this time, no matter what. So that's going to be kind of my goal this week, is to handle that day by day. And I'm a huge believer in good, better, best. Trying to be at least good, because it's very rare that I can be my best and just perfect. Because contest prep, I mean, yeah, I treat it with seriousness, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to destroy the other things in my life over it. And that is the balance point for many people who compete, that they need to go through mentally and emotionally. For a lot of first timers who aren't used to what discipline really looks like, it can be so overwhelming that they just, I can't do it perfect, so they give up. And that is a very emotionally immature individual. And not immature in the way that you'll never be mature. You just haven't had the experience or the opportunity to refine that ability to discipline yourself, to work through those challenges instead of just can't do it. So I think that's a great goal for all of us, is to be continuously moving in the direction of progress on an emotional level, of being able to adapt to situations rather than play the all or nothing game. That has been something really critical in my mindset in the gym. I've loved my training sessions. In fact, I tore up my hamstrings and my glutes so badly on Tuesday. I just started walking normally today. Today is Sunday. It has been hilarious. Like, people who watch me, like, you know, you can tell when someone's had leg day. There's a difference between having leg day and not moving. Hobble like this. You look at the stairs and you just stand at the top. You're like, does someone have a slide? Where is the elevator? But foam rolling, and I try not to take ibuprofen or aspirin unless I'm like injured. I don't take those for pain. My feeling for myself is, if you're inflamed, that is the time to be using those types of medicines. But that's just my take on it. I've been really good with my supplements. I've found a schedule that works very well for me, which is when I have my first breakfast, I keep all of my supplements in a little tote in my pantry. So I just pull out the tote and they're all lined up. And I recommend to a lot of my clients to put, individuals, and a lot of people use those little pill capsule containers, and that freaks me out because it makes me feel like I'm getting old or something. No offense to those who do, but I can't do it. So I typically just open each bottle one by one and just pour everything out into it. I got a little pile of everything I'm taking, and I'm the type of person, I can just take it all. So I do that, and I eat my meal one, and then there's just a few pills that I do later in the evening, particularly magnesium. Studies show it's absorbed way better in the evening, so I take that with my dinner meal. And fish oil I do 3 times a day. Glutamine, I'm repeating. I do that about 2 times a day. One time 30 minutes pre-workout. I do have glutamine in my post-workout protein. And then I do another, just in like a shaker cup, I'll just do another 5 grams and drink that. I'll usually put like I have a bunch of these like little herbal tea, like extract things just for taste. Sometimes I'll put that in there. So that's been going really well, having a schedule with supplements, sticking to it. There were 2 big things that I really wanted to talk about this week, which the first is about the science of this ketosis that I'm in. So I have been in ketosis for 2 weeks now. And because I've never put myself in this severe of ketosis, well, I guess I should qualify that. A lot of people think when they carb cycle that they're in ketosis. No. Typically, no, because your protein is probably too high and you're carbing up too soon to truly get that glucose completely eliminated to the point that your body switches over to using ketones for energy. Carb cycling is a great strategy for most people, you know, once they hit a point of being like a healthy body weight. And carb cycling is great for those who are above healthy as well, but it's more of a diet mentality. So unless they have that baseline healthy lifestyle, power foods lifestyle, what I teach, unless they have that established, I don't like to throw them straight into a carb cycling approach unless I've worked with that client before. Establishing a new baseline of functioning is the most critical point of any change, because if you don't establish a baseline, if you don't work on that, where's my default fallback behavior, then your fallback behavior is screwy all over the place. So we have to get that first, then we can advance into more of a diet mentality. So we need to be very cognizant of that as well. So with ketosis, about every 8 to 10 days, I have spiked my insulin just by drinking 1 cup of Gatorade. The normal sugar, there's about 28 grams of sugar in Gatorade. Isn't that an interesting point? I use it to spike my insulin, not as a health drink. There's so much sugar in it. So if those of you out there are using that as a healthy drink, think again. Your blood sugar is going through the roof on that. And you know what, the insulin spiking, I am going to stop it from this point on. So from here on out, carb grams are under 30, which means even some vegetables I can't do. Like literally, I will only eat at this point 1 serving of zucchini a day. The rest of it is spinach. If I'm dying, I'll have some celery, just because that extra fiber is going to help me feel full more. So with this ketosis, carbs just absolutely are not an option. I found out a little bit later yesterday that we had this family reunion. I didn't know, I wasn't told. So I ended up just going to it. I had eaten my meal like 2 hours before, and I thought, wow, if I was anybody else, I'd be stressing out right now. Like, oh, there's gonna be food. What are people gonna think? Should I bring my own meal? Like, and I was like, I'm so grateful. I'm so chill about this. When you get these habits and patterns established in your life, you don't need to freak out. So I made up my mind. I was like, well, I'm gonna stay for 2 hours, so I have 2 options. If there's food there that works, I can eat it in the amount that I'd be fine with. And if there's food that doesn't work there, I'm not gonna eat it, and I'm gonna come home in 2 hours. Oh heck, I'm 30 minutes behind my schedule. I'll be fine, and I'll eat my normal meal. No need to be a freak about this or to put off any part of my family, particularly those that don't necessarily like the fact that I compete in bodybuild, because there are those. So anyway, I just went, and there was some pulled pork and a lot of fruit and cookies and, you know, typical like get together picnic foods. And I ended up just focusing so much on conversation and visiting with family members that I haven't seen in years. And I, to be honest, didn't know they knew like my name. That was really cool to be greeted and just treated like family. It felt so good. I have a very large family. Both my mom and my dad come from a family of 7 children. My family has 7 children. So you can imagine those extended families get quite large. And this was one particular, family get together. So anyway, I ended up just having a lot of the leafy greens, and there were some sliced almonds. So I just did about a tablespoon on top of that. And I just had a little bit, I'd say 2 ounces of the pulled pork. The biggest reason why was the barbecue sauce. Because barbecue sauce has the sugar, it has the carbs. So I was like, we gotta really watch this. And it was interesting to have a lot of my aunts and uncles and cousins come up to me and say, you know, we're aware that you have been doing this, and so-and-so told me about your social media, etc. And so they're like, I've been watching, you know, how you put your meal together. It was really interesting to me. Do you mind explaining? So I sat there, and it was neat and my parents were right there, even them, everyone to listen in and to be able to share with them a little bit more about the ketosis, that this is absolutely diet approach, that this is for a short term, but my fallback, because usually I love carbohydrates, okay, carbs are good for us, and I hope that nobody watching my vlogs and seeing that I am in a ketogenic state, I hope you don't walk away thinking, oh, carbs are bad, like I probably shouldn't be doing carbs because Kristy isn't doing carbs. Guys, read my book, I'm all about the carbs. Okay, this is simply an experiment for many reasons for myself, and here is one of the biggest reasons I am experimenting with this. In all of my studies of this and how they use ketogenic diets for cancer patients, for people with tumors, any type of inflammatory disease that starts from inflammation, which is nearly everything, these medical facilities who are using ketogenic diets are literally starving these cells. And they are, obviously it's not like, doctors don't love it because it's taking people away from buying the pharmaceuticals and all of the treatments when you can get free advice, or somewhat free, you know, of how to do a ketogenic diet. And oh wow, wait, you can fix this? I'm not saying that this can fix everything. What I'm saying is there is a heck of a ton of science out there. And so I've been really experimenting. And let me tell you this, and I was able to share this with my family yesterday. I didn't realize it until just a few days ago, and my jaw nearly dropped. With my 40-degree scoliosis and my chronic pain that I've experienced my whole life, and when I say chronic pain, only those of you who have chronic pain know what I mean. It sucks, and it's a big part of your life. And I haven't been in pain. Wow. And it's wow, causing me to think a lot, causing me to really consider, even I may continue experimenting with this ketosis following my contest, because to me this is powerful, this is life-changing, not to have to feel that pain from all the inflammation. I'm not saying there's not like creaks and groans and things like that, but golly, much of the achiness is just gone. Is ketosis hard? Absolutely. I mean, 80% of the food supply is carbohydrates. So don't be surprised if in the next few months you see more podcasts, you see more blog posts, and eventually another book. Yeah, there's a lot to this. So I'm really excited to be sharing that with you, but it's been quite the thing. So I think that plays into a lot of what has kept me going, kept me on diet, because I'll be honest, sometimes I'm not perfect with my portion sizes. Sometimes I'm hungry, and or not sometimes always hungry, sometimes just a little bit weak. And you know, that extra slice of bacon, that extra little tablespoon of coconut butter, that extra egg yolk, you know, those make a difference when you're controlling caloric intake. Obviously we do macronutrients as well, protein, carbs, veggies, or protein, carbs, fats, I can't even talk. But caloric intake is absolutely critical, you know, being on the dot. And so that has been a little bit interesting, and I need to do better on my portion sizes. But knowing about the glucose and not wanting that in my body has derailed me from, you know, times that other people might go get a milkshake or cookie or donut or break in terms of that sugar. Like, that off switch in my mind is on, like, it's not an option. You're in ketosis, so you better get some fats. And you can't even overdo the protein, because your body will start to use the protein to break down into glucose. And so, to be honest, I've even dropped my protein. On a normal lifestyle, personally, for my goals, my body, don't take this rule of thumb, but for me, I typically do 160 to 170 grams of protein a day. I'm currently doing about 110 to 120 because of the ketogenic state. You can't ramp that protein too high. So anyway, that mindset has been really good to have in terms of don't go get the glucose, stay away from the sugar. Just stay away, and sugar is in everything. So I think the last thing I want to talk about is fears. Absolutely fearful of not coming in lean enough. It was helpful to take my progress photos this morning, put them up against my photos 2 weeks ago, and just to observe the changes in my body. And in fact, I sent a photo to all of my coaches. We have a group text. And it's fun to involve them in you know, my journey as well. And yeah, so it's exciting to see my body is changing, hardening up. That's the biggest thing. It's not about getting skinnier. Oh heavens, no, we don't want that in contest prep. It's about leaning out, hardening up. Because as the body fat gets closer and closer to that muscles, it gives a different textured look. It's called conditioning. That level of body fat, the amount of exposure that muscle has, that subcutaneous layer of fat diminishes. So that's why in this world of aesthetics training, you know, we refer to things like I'm feeling soft, I'm feeling fluffy, versus you're hard, you're tight, you're lean. So my goal is just keep hardening up, keep tightening up. I have 1 week left in Salt Lake City before I'm on vacation. Yeah, the final 2 weeks before my competition, I'll be out of town for 2 weeks. So that'll be fun. So we'll do one more contest prep vlog from my office, and the rest are going to be on the beach or somewhere near the beach. So thank you so much for the support you have been showing me, just not only by watching this, but those of you who've been sending me those private messages and the emails. And you know, it helps. It does, because I'm not perfect. I'm a human too, you know. And I'll be honest, today on Facebook I saw this advertisement for this cookie dough candy bar pie. And the old me, you have to understand, used to go buy cookie dough in the middle of the night and just eat it. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that looks good. For about 5 seconds I thought that, and I thought, I wish I could just, and I was like, you can. If you want to, you can. But let's think about science. Let's think about control. Let's think about health. Do you want to put your body in a state not only to not achieve your goals, but in a state of health debilitation? Anytime we put sugar in our bodies over 1 teaspoon, we're putting our bodies in a horrible state. And a lot of people don't like to hear me say this because they don't have that control yet. And it's okay. It's a journey for us all to find that level of responsibility and discipline. And you know, I don't think 99% of people on this world will ever get there, and that's okay. But for those of you who care, who are listening, who are watching, who are pleading with yourself to raise that level of discipline, I applaud you. And I want you to know you can do it, and just focus on those baby steps. And the world will not support you in it, I promise you. There will be more people against you and tearing you down and telling you why it's better to be balanced. It's better to enjoy and just enjoy life and eat, drink, and be merry, if we use scriptural terms. And you know, my feeling is there is so much more to this than the body, than the nutrition, than the health. It is such a connection between our spirits, our intelligence, our bodies. I believe we're on earth to learn to discipline ourselves, and we are housed in the vehicle of the body in order to do that. And so through this vehicle of our body, we're able to hone and train our intelligence, our spirit, that matter that existed before we came to earth. That's my belief. I'm LDS. That's a huge part of my life, and why I do what I do in helping people. Because if I was just about the aesthetics, I would have burned out a long time ago. But I care about people overcoming themselves and their weaknesses. And I believe there's so much more to life. And that's another reason you don't see me just flaunting my body everywhere, because to me, the body is the vehicle, not the only part of this journey. So thank you for watching. 3 weeks out. Registration's mailed in, tanning is sent in, everything's scheduled.